Lease control art restriction 0.
時間の彼方に追いやるつもりか。
I really don't know, man. I can't even like date as a woman. It's hard because you're just like skeptical of everyone because you have all these bad experiences, and it's just you kind of like group all men together as the same thing, and you're just skeptical.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, it's almost as if they're choosing the bad experience, guys. Like, it's almost as if they're choosing the people that treat them like crap, who don't answer their phone calls, and who ignore them. That's absolute craziness. But what is going on, guys? It is Taylor the Fiend back again with another response video. And on today's show, we're not looking at a Patreon submission today. Today, we're revisiting the channel It's Complicated. Now, this guy does fantastic street interviews. If you don't and you haven't checked out his channel yet, I would strongly suggest you do so. Great channel, guys. He does street interviews with people and gets their perspective. But before we crack into it, guys, if you're new here, you're liking the videos, make sure you subscribe on your way in. Come and join the Discord if you haven't already. And if you'd like to support the channel, guys, as always, the Patreon is there. You get access to exclusive videos and episodes over there. So be sure to check that out if you want to get more out of the channel. I put an episode up over there yesterday, actually. But let's see what these people have to say, guys.
Like, let's say that a guy like buys like a flashy car or something like that, right?
Okay.
Is he doing? I mean,
Oh yeah.
isn't he doing that kind of stuff to try to like
he
get
would do it for women, yeah.
for a woman? Okay.
To get
or like
attention or like show off.
or like maybe like, okay, look at nightclub culture and stuff, right?
Okay.
Women typically get in for free. Who are the ones in there spending all the money?
Men, yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Because they're putting the money towards women.
They're trying
that's where all
to.
the money is.
They're trying to impress women.
Yeah, impress.
To
yeah.
try to.
Guys, I've said this before on the channel, but if you're a man who goes out to nightclubs, you know, you talk to girls out there, don't be buying them drinks, please. None of this buying drinks, buying things, trying to impress girls crap. I mean, a lot of you guys are already switched onto that. You know, to start valuing your time, your money, and stuff like that. And you know that's good, but we still got a lot of men over here who think that, you know, the best way to a girl's heart is trying to impress her. That stuff has never worked, guys. Trying to impress women never worked. Now, I will say there is a huge difference. So I know a lot of you guys are into cars, mechanics, that sort of thing. There is a huge difference between getting a car for yourself and getting a car to try and impress women, right? Like, let's just say you've had a dream car that you've liked your entire life. You know, maybe you're a guy, you watch Dukes of Hazzard, right? And you've got that that dream car that you've always wanted, or you know what I mean. Then as long as you're buying it for yourself, that's a completely different thing than if you're going out there trying to get a McLaren to impress women with, yeah? Right, and girls can sense that, right? Because a lot of the time, girls get approached by these guys who maybe have got their money in order, guys. But the guys who have their money in order and they lead with money, that is a terrible way to try and start a relationship, right? That's how you start it off, and you just, you know, you're trying to get used from the bat. Let's continue.
Seek their approval, right?
I
Okay.
agree.
So what I'd like to know is, do you believe that being in love requires you to be vulnerable?
Definitely.
I think that pretty much goes without saying. How can you make yourself vulnerable without getting taken advantage of?
Okay, I'm gonna have to think about that. I think there's always a risk in being vulnerable, right? But if we're not vulnerable, then we're never gonna know like what's possible, right? If I'm a life coach, disclaimer. But like if we always have this wall up, then we're not gonna be able to connect with the other person, right? And so if we're not vulnerable, like you can't truly be in a relationship, and you're never gonna know what that love really is.
You know, I've got a lot of guys over here, right? Most of the audience is guys who watch these videos, and when people say stuff like that, man, I just like it literally, like, it just does not fit in my brain, yeah? Like, it just makes absolutely zero sense. Well, it makes sense from their perspective, but guys, let me put it this way, okay? When girls talk about, you know, oh, people who have walls up, being in a relationship is about being open and you know, connecting with one another. See, what they're describing is like they want to come across a guy who has walls and then they want to feel like they're the girl who finally broke down his walls, and they're the girl that finally was able to connect with him and, you know, return him to some semblance of humanity. Guys, this is incredibly cringe, right? But if you guys have ever watched something like Vampire Diaries, or wait, let me just shut that off. Vampire Diaries, Twilight, you know, any sort of vampire story. What it is essentially, guys, is it's like a man who is a beast. You know, he's got his walls up, he's got his issues, right? He's a vampire, obviously, or some type of beast. Beauty and the Beast is another good example. And the girls want to feel like they're the ones to have broken down the wall using their feminine intuition. But let me tell you something. Guys who do not have that wall, that boundary, that sense of I'm going to do what I want, get out of my damn way. Men who do not have that, women are not interested in typically. You know, maybe they're interested in him for his resources or whatever the case may be, but, you know, they're going somewhere else at 2 a.m. in the morning, if you get what I'm saying. Okay, so like women will talk endlessly. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, he's got his, you know, people have their walls up. You need to be emotionally intimate and connect with people." They're only saying that because that's what they want to have happen to Chad. Yeah, it's almost like they just want to unchadify Chad, and then that's their entire goal, and then they move on to the next one. Let's continue.
Have you ever heard of a dating coach or a pickup artist?
A dating coach?
A dating coach. Would you say that there are more dating coaches for men than there are for women?
Yeah.
Or pickup artists, right? What a pickup artist is like
For
a man,
men, yeah.
a man who teaches men how to go up to women
Okay,
and
girls,
get their attraction like that, right?
Yeah.
But
that's
there's more of them than for men than there are for women, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Is that because they're trying to teach men how to seek women's approval?
Mm-hmm.
Here's my question:
Before it gets into the question, I actually disagree there. Like, right, so, you know, yeah, you can make the case that there are more men dating coaches, pickup artists, whatever you want to call them, right? And the reason why, in my view, it's not because, you know, those people are out there trying to validate women, right? It's not like men go up to a woman, right? They're interested in, and we're thinking to ourselves, oh, we're trying to validate her. No, that's like you know, maybe impress if you're a beta, right? But the goal at the end of the day is to have a girlfriend, have bedroom fun, whatever the case may be, right? And the thing is, the reason why you can make so much more of a you know there are more dating coaches and pickup artists is because it's difficult, right? It is not difficult for women to get partners, guys, and also them getting partners looks different. Okay, all these people have to do to get partners is they literally have to sit down in the right location. Right, you get that. Like we as men, men have to actually build something. Yeah, it's like we have to have something ready to go for the woman to actually be interested in. Now, whether that's a nice house, whether that's you're attractive and your body looks good, you know, you can split it up all different ways. Typically into, you know, for lack of a better term, beta and alpha, right? Like you can split it up that way. But men actually have to have something, right? It actually takes some degree of skill. Right? If you want to talk about game, you know, verbal game, all that kind of crap, it's almost it is a skill. Now, girls on the other hand, they just have to sit there and look pretty. So you know what their pickup and dating coaches look like, guys? They look like the cosmetic stores, yeah. That's what that looks like. That's why the makeup industry is so damn huge, because that's their version, right? They sit there and they look pretty. So that in my view is why there is more male dating coaches and stuff like that. In my view, it's just because it's more difficult, right? And also men are hungry for that knowledge, right? You get guys who can't get girls, and they're really interested to know how. Let's keep going.
If men are constantly trying to seek women's approval,
Yes.
why do so many people think we're living in a male-dominated society?
That's a good question. But I also feel like there's different situations. So all the questions you asked me have to do with dating.
Right.
And in that sequence, or in that situation, yes, you're right.
What? That what?
Yeah, you're right with, like, it is women that are kind of like giving the higher power.
Women
when
have
it comes to dating, yeah.
Okay.
That they have a connection.
I think that is.
Okay, yeah. I mean, women absolutely have the power in dating, guys. They have like a different set of problems with dating, but they absolutely have the power in dating. Men do not have, guys. You know, you see this argument all the time of like, You know, who has it better in dating, men or women? I strongly believe that women have it better. Unless, you know, I've read through the different cases for and against, I still think that men have it a lot more difficult in dating. Now, you know, if you want to take a more holistic approach looking at life in general, you can make a case that men have it easier. Like you can make a case for that. But at the end of the day, you know, if you're a 22-year-old girl, what kind of difficulties are you going to face in life if you settle down and get married? Like your life is essentially solved for you by that point. So, you know, you can make a case that men peak later and all that kind of thing. To me, guys, you're not going to get a higher SMV, if you know what that means, you know, market value, than a woman who's in her early 20s. You just can't do it, right? Like in my view, let's just say you're a 50-year-old guy, right? You know, you got your wealth, your body's looking good. Maybe you're on that hormone replacement therapy. You know what I'm saying, right? And you know, you look great. You got your money in order. You still, at least in my opinion, you do not have the SMV of a 20-year-old woman. That just does not happen. It's still going to be lower. Now, I think that I think that fame is a different story. I think that with fame you can approach those levels, but still, even then, it's not like you walk into a bar and every single girl, you know, every single time is going to want to hook up with you or would, right? Let's continue.
It's totally about looks at first, and
Like
then
you're attracted to them because they're like beauty or
Yes,
whatever.
you're attracted because of the beauty, but then after that, what holds up the relationship
is like their
the
personality
connection
and not
Okay.
connection.
Do you think it's harder to find a relationship or to maintain a relationship?
maintain a
I think
relationship.
find. I think
maintain.
I think it depends on the person, but overall, if you're a compromising person, it takes more to find a person that you're willing to compromise and meet in the middle with than it does to actually compromise with them.
No. Wait, what was the question again?
Okay, well,
Oh my word! Like, just imagine that, right, guys? Like, you grab the mic because you have something to say, and you don't even know what the question was. But you know, it's so funny, guys. I want you to imagine, right? Like, just imagine for a second that you can sit down, right? You can go to your local coffee shop, library, whatever the case may be, and you know, you'll get a couple of dating prospects during that time, and then imagine saying that you have difficulty finding a relationship. Like it just blows my mind, man, because it truly proves the whole invisibility thing, right? Like the whole the 80-20 rule, you know, the girls wanting the top 20%. Guys, most guys are flat out invisible, right? And I don't say that because, like, it's not something to sook about. Like, I personally do not care. Like, I do not care at all. Like, these dating decisions that these women make, guys, you know, a lot of people will come on here and say, oh, Taylor, you're just angry, you're just bitter, you're a terrible bitter man. A lot of us just find this crap funny. I find this incredibly funny. Like, when a woman complains about, you know, this guy won't validate me, like, guys, it just brightens my day a little bit because I just have a laugh to myself. You know what I mean? These girls are like, oh, I can't get him to date me. Why isn't he interested in me? Meanwhile, they got a line of like 1,000 guys. I think that's hilarious that she's choosing to put herself through that amount of emotional turmoil for no damn reason. It blows my mind. Like, these situations, guys, at the end of the day, they're not stuff to get mad about. Like, they're really not. I personally just look at it, I have a laugh, and I move on with my day. Right? And when you see this stuff, like when you watch more of these videos, guys, and you start to see how these people actually think, it's like when you look at relationships, they all of a sudden it just becomes really funny. Like, you look at all these people, they're just lying to themselves about what they want. Oh, I want a good guy who treats me right. And then, you know, they're on their phone glued to this guy's Instagram who won't reply to a message. It's hilarious.
Compromising or maintaining? Like finding someone
Dude.
or maintaining?
What's the next question?
okay.
That was a really good point, though. Like, with just the fact that, like, I don't know, just the fact that you say, like, it's a men's world, but then you look into dating and it really is like a woman's world, you know? Like, we do have, like, the say a lot in who we date and who we see.
If any of you happen to be looking for a quality man, where would you expect to find him?
Not in Las
Life is beautiful.
Library. Let's be real, in a library.
Life is beautiful.
At the UNLV library.
I want a festy bestie, mans. I have one
All right,
though.
well, let me try this now, related to that. Have you ever noticed a correlation between the music people listen to and the quality of their character?
Oh, 1,000,000%. Oh, for sure. I can't like connect with somebody.
Hey.
I cannot.
We're doing a real interview.
We can come back and do that afterwards. Thank you. Be respectful.
Thanks. I cannot connect with somebody that does not have the same music taste as me.
I mean, that's probably a good thing, right? Like, that's probably a good thing. You know, it's getting to the point where these people talk about star signs and crap like that, and they use like, you know, like crystals and rocks. Man, I just get absolutely lost at that point. But we're going to take a second here, guys, and we're going to jump into a quick article that I wanted to bring up. So we're just going to take a quick look at that, and it's from our favorite place online, guys. It's from Youve. Now, this one is titled, let's have a look at the title. You've got to stop making excuses for lazy guys. Men's dating game seems to be getting lazier, and we've been making excuses for them. Guys, please try and internalize and understand this. These women are attracted to the men that don't care. Right, so they'll write these big long articles about, oh, dating sucks. He doesn't like me. Men are putting in no effort. Guys, make no mistake. These women have access to men who will put in effort into the relationship, right? Like, you've got all of these men out here who would be willing and able and ready to date these people. But you know what? He doesn't listen to the same music is the excuse you're given, right? No, the attraction's not there because he's willing to give up his validation. You guys, something to take note of, guys, is attention is actually worth a different amount from different men, right? So let's just say you've got guy A and guy B, and let's just say they're identical, except for the fact that one guy earns 100K plus a year and the other guy doesn't. That guy who earns 100K plus a year, by default, his attention is worth more. You see what I'm saying? Now, am I saying that all people who earn that amount of money, am I saying that they're particularly quote-unquote good at dating, successful at dating, whatever you want to call it? Absolutely not. I think that money for people in relationships, men in particular, try and use it as a crutch, right? Money is not a crutch for attraction. I think if you turn it into the right kind of systems, you can. Like, let's just say, for example, you know, once a month you blow $300, $400, whatever the case may be, depending on a photographer, and you get a bunch of photos and stuff, like professional photos for your Instagram. That's an effective way to use some money if you're trying to get girls, right? But like leading with, hey girl, look at my watch. I mean, good luck. Let's continue. It's hardly groundbreaking to say that the culture of dating is constantly shifting. A century ago, exchanging love letters was all the rage. In the 1950s, a young man would ask a woman out on a proper date, possibly even bring her flowers. Today, especially after being locked up for the better portion of the last year, we rely pretty heavily on our phones to connect with other singles, whether through dating apps or social media. Overall, a date these days has become relatively easy, with our phones doing most of the legwork of finding a match for us online. We're able to sift through potential matches, exchange flirty messages with a cute guy, and lock down a date without even having to change out of our sweatpants. I mean, this is just a straight up girl experience, right? Like, guys can do this for sure if you're looking good, your photos are on point. But this is certainly a girl experience, right? And it blows it's so funny, man, that these people are like, wait a minute, where are all the men going? Where are all the good dates going? You know, I've slept with 100 men in the past 6 months, but you know, okay, that might be a bit of an exaggeration, but make no mistake, guys, the body counts are incredibly high. And you know, there are definitely girls out here who will get that 100 body count in 6 months for sure. As crazy as that is to say, guys, there are a lot of you guys don't believe me. Like, when I say obscenely high body counts, like if I say, you know, by the time a girl's 30 or whatever, she has a couple hundred under her belt, I get a lot of guys saying, Taylor, that number is totally unrealistic. It's not. It's absolutely not. It is so easy for women to have hookups with dating apps. It is unbelievable. And if you don't believe me, just go and test it for yourself, guys. Make a female dating profile, put no pictures on it, and then you come back to me with the amount of dates you get, yeah? And then do the same thing with a man as a man's profile, but actually try and add attractive pictures and see how you go. Let's keep going. Along with this development has been a push for young women to take the reins when it comes to dating, to pursue the guy, plan a date, or keep the relationship moving forward. Guys, a relationship moving forward, this is a concept that girls use, right? Like we as men, like relationships are not like not really a progression thing to us. They sort of are, like, you know, maybe we make out, then we're boyfriend and girlfriend, and then all of a sudden we're like wife husband, and that's kind of the progression. But for girls, a progression in a relationship looks different, right? It looks like, how well can I wrap this guy around my finger? To what extent do I understand him? Because for girls, relationships are an understanding and a shifting experience, right? For us as men, it's more of like a physical thing, more of a logistical thing. Like, it's a lot more simple, right? But girls want to they want to know everything about you. They want to know every nook and cranny, and you know, and stuff like that. And again, when they do get to that point, they get bored. That's why the butterflies are so important. When they talk about butterflies, guys, it means the guy's a mystery. You know, he's compelling. He's like a good book. And then you finish the book, and it's like, oh well, on to the next one. We're sold the idea that becoming the active pursuer in our relationship is not only empowering for us, but will help us find a man who isn't threatened by a strong, assertive woman. But is this approach actually helping us, or is it just allowing men to get lazier? I think the real question is just looking at it and saying to yourself, you know, have you devalued yourself to a point where men are just not interested? I mean, that's also a good question, right? But anyway, guys, we're going to leave today's video there. As always, if you enjoyed, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Come and check out the Patreon link in the description if you guys want access to more episodes and stuff like that. I'm continuing to grow a library over there, guys, so it's a great way to support the channel and get more out of the channel if you guys are liking the videos. Leave your comments below, guys, what you thought about today's video. As always, share with each other. If you disagree with anything I've said, guys, feel free to do so in the comments. That's why they're there. And I will see you boys in the next one. Peace.